Hey everybody, this is Joel Hoekstra of Whitesnake and Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I'm here with my friends at Guitar World today to do a playthrough from my project, Joel Hoekstra's 13, from the upcoming album Crash of Life. The song is called Far Too Deep. Get your guitars dropped down a whole step and the low, normally E, another whole step all the way to a C. So we're dropped a whole step and then the low E is drop C. Hope you dig it. Okay, so how to play this thing. I'm going to try and walk you through all the little bits really slowly. There's obviously a big glisten on Vinny Appice's drum fill. I'm kind of copping in on two. Anyway, those that haven't used the gliss, that's a great, beginners out there. It's a great connector of licks. If you have a lick idea, it's a great transition of sections. So that's a gliss on my low E where I go up and down. And I tend to use usually my middle finger for those and then be prepared to play power chords and things of that nature. So if you're going to practice your glisses, beginners, this is mainly for beginners, do that with your middle finger. And then it gets into, obviously this is drop the whole step. We've got this whole drop C thing going on. What I'm doing is going between accenting dyads and palm muting the low C, okay? Beginners out there, once again, the idea is to create a contrast between the accented chords and your muted note, okay? You want that to be as different as possible. Your right hand should pick up and down for the mute, not kind of middle ground. There's a lot of guys out there going like for the riff, and it's not the same as. So just some of the subtleties of what makes those rhythms heavy is that when you accent a note, not palm muted, it picks up when you go to the palm muted note. This is more the metal style, not the 90s style. The 90s style kind of had that more grungy let it ring, So that chord picks up. It's a D5 chord here on the 5th fret. So anyway, the dyads go like this. So right there, I go from a 4th. This is a 4th interval. So it's kind of based off of the D blues. Right, so we've got that note's on its own. And there I'm going, a little more of the thrash vibe. Getting the Phrygian sound. So okay. And I opted for the riff on the play along, but there's clearly a hook that's unison bend stuff going over that. If you haven't done unison bends, that's all about watching where your first finger is. And what you're doing is you're bending the string above it to the same pitch, but what gives it a cool effect, get a little warble on that with vibrato. So it sounds kind of sound effecty, So the melody goes A, C, to G, down to F, A, G. Now I'm going to do 2 unison bends based off of the E and the B. And this becomes a 3-fret stretch for you beginners. A lot of you advanced guys are like, yeah, come on, dude, move it along. But, there are a lot of beginners that watch this, so I like to get them involved too. And that's an F to a D. So that phrase, the hook that you hear on the intro, the re-intro, and the out of the song are... placed over them. Forgot to get to that for you. That's all. So there's, I kind of slide into this, and that's a little Tony Iommi, little pull on that note, right? So cool. So that's your main riff. So there's my tribute to the 90s right there, except I'm palm muting, right? The 90s, a lot of that stuff was more like, right? So basically where that comes from is still that D blues scale. Like if any of you guys that haven't experimented with dropping your low string a whole step, that was one of the beauties of the 90s, learning that grunge style, is that you could outline scales with power chords on those three. So that's coming from the D blues scale. So once again, sorry to be so scattered here, but the main riff. Definitely heavy palm muting there, right? Now here's almost like my tribute to Symphony of Destruction from Megadeth here. So once again, creating the contrast of... So there's a little palm mute between that third accent if you hear it. So it's two accents. But a very simple riff. The verse is really easy. For clarity for you beginners, when you're palm muting and chugging, you don't really want to chug all three. You don't want... You're just that low C in this case, right? So, easy riff. That one's one of the easiest of the song. The song is deceptively hard in spots. Some very easy stuff, though. So the pre, we're going to palm mute these power chords, right? And the phrase is based on that D blues scale shape. Again, if I go... And I go for a pinch harmonic on that. My Zakk Wylde, try to be at least. Cool. So and taking it back a ways for the beginners again there, pinch harmonics are really created by the thumb striking the string after you pick. One of the things that I tell a lot of my students is, don't think about necessarily just how far you choke up on your pick to get your thumb to strike the string after, but think about angling a bit. Think about picking towards your volume knobs. That sort of forces the issue of your thumb hitting the string. So when I play that third fret, you can see it's as I follow through, it's definitely going to hit that string, right? So cool. Same bit there. And then this is a simple D blues walk down, not muted, no wiggles until the very last note. Well, slight vibrato, I guess I lied. So that note right there, I do try and get a little pinch and wiggle. So again, you're hearing some of my influences here. I'm trying to break that down for you guys so you see where this stuff comes from with me and in growing up into this style of music. Now we're into the chorus riff. And this for me was based on, okay, this song's in D minor. And I started thinking about Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. You know, I don't know how many of you guys learned that song. Actually, technically, I guess I'm in concert C minor here with that, with the guitar dropped down a whole step. But for all intents and purposes, I'm fretting in D minor. So this kind of comes from that, and I try to stick to two-note power chords for these kind of things. I don't want to make them too bright. This is supposed to be metal, you know, like... Right? There's that same walk down. So it's just a series of dyads, 5 chords, right? Power chords. And then this riff. Just to the open A. Same deal. Those are parallel notes on the A. And after the first chorus, I play a D minor 7 chord as an accent with that far too deep when Girish sings that. So that is, if you've never learned that, it's a great, like, you know, it's very Whitesnake-y kind of blues way to play a D minor chord. Again, those slid up syllables. As Jimmy oversees me, we're missing the 7 sharp 9. I'm missing that in there, right? But same chord. Big wiggle on those. Okay, then we're, oh, I should point out there is the Iron Maiden in me wrote a harmony to the chorus. So that's done in thirds. So, which is probably a little advanced to get into for a song play along here, but essentially the part is, so this is unison, meaning an octave higher. That run is the same, but this other stuff harmonizes with, right when I'm going. So that's the Iron Maiden in me right there. You know, that kind of stuff, wanting to write like additional lifts for a chorus, make the chorus really big. So we go back from there, from that chorus into, really it's the same stuff. I think on the re-intro there's a little break. Just an E flat power chord. Cool. That's all. And just try and get a pinch on that third one. And, you know, and one note about that, when you get your vibrato in rock, as a general rule of thumb, trying to avoid, you know, vibrato is generated by the wrist, not the finger. You don't wiggle your finger. You hold your hand in position. You can see my whole hand kind of holds posture. It looks kind of vulgar there. Sorry, guys. But, you know, it's... you can see that my hand moves. It's the wrist, right? Cool. But then we're back into that easy verse riff and back into the easy pre-riff. From there, really, everything is the same. We're going to roll through a verse and we're going to roll through a pre-chorus and we're going to roll through a chorus. And last time when we got to the end of this, far too deep, we did the... Remember the D minor 7? This time I thought it might be cool to give Vinny Appice like some drum breaks there, and actually Derek Sherinian kind of shreds over it too. So I'm kind of giving the guys like some room to jam. So the riff is just and out, right? 4 times. I lied 3 times, and then the 4th time is gonna go. Right? Which I think in the playthrough here I actually slid because I'm going to transition. Yes, the boomer move of the pick in the mouth is still alive and well, folks. Don't worry. As I go from E flat to 5. Now's a technique I teach a lot to my students, a fun little multi-finger thing. I'm going to leave my pick on my knee here so I'm not holding in my teeth for talking. That would be super annoying. But I'm going to set up an inverted D dyad. So this is a D power chord, right? And this is as well. Taking D and A, DNA. This is DNA here. Now, this is a great way to get started with arpeggiating power chords with multi-finger tapping. If I go top note, and I pull off to this, now the inclination is, hey, it's power chord, I can leave this set down, but we're going to try and go one string at a time and treat it like a scale. We're going to go... Essentially, it's a real fancy way to play a D power chord. Now, obviously, that's something you could move to any progression, but one of the fancy things that I dig about this little technique is that you can move one hand or the other, and it almost sounds more interesting. So what I did here is I took it down the D minor scale. I went from D... and a split measure of B flat to C. So that opening... Cool. And then very similar, we're going to walk up. We're going to go... Cool. With this again. Now this time when we walk up, I feel like rhythmically it's annoying because it's the same thing every time. So here I decided to go. So that's how that resolves. So I consider those to be sixes when you double tap. Right? So if I'm going, I do a 4 and then 2 6s on that E flat. And that happens 4 times. Or 3 times, I'm sorry. There you go. Tony Franklin had played some bass stabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are just dyads, but here I actually transitioned to sus2 chords. I thought it sounded a little wider and more proggy. Going to it. So that's basically a 3-note power chord for 5 the rest of the way. That's when that tapping is happening. And it resolves to the D. Okay? So that gets us all the way up to the solo, which happens over the verse riff. Okay? So let's talk about this solo. It begins with something that I've been using for a long time, back from my fusion days, that I just thought was like a cool, ugly chord. Very dissonant. Kind of fit in the thrash world in a way. If I go... So I'm kind of going from A flat up to D here. So those tab guys, 6 to 12, 13, 10, 13. So I thought that was an awesome dissonant chord. So I've been using those for a long time. And then my little tribute to Randy Rhoads, the pick scrape going in, I didn't just do a traditional... I kind of went trying to, you guys think about the beginning of Crazy Train, right? So I tried to go these little vertical scrapes across the high strings. And now I'm thinking, okay, I want to hit like a lot of D Phrygian sharp 3 over this riff. The trick is there's straight Phrygian, which to me doesn't sound as cool as a scale to solo with. So I tried to resolve every time when it would go to this chord. So D Phrygian sharp 3 is G harmonic minor, for those that aren't familiar. So this, essentially I'm taking this solo, well, the beginning is in the D blues scale. So that opening is kind of a D blues riff. Oh, I should mention that's definitely a George Lynch influence on me right there. That whole that whole like initial bend higher rather than just going or just bending the D. That bending up high quick and coming back down. That definitely is like, you know, hey, I listened to Dokken in the 80s. Now here you'll see your straight up G harmonic minor stuff. So this is a legato pattern of mine. If you don't know your modes, it's a little tricky for me to describe, but I'm just going to play it really slow for you guys. So we have... kind of takes a big jump down there. Now here we get into some multi-finger tapping. So this is, I do this when I'm, you know, playing it in motion, but I kind of always give myself a little pickup in. So what I do is I pluck like with my index on the A to get myself here. But that's actually technically not the first note. It kind of serves as like a gliss into this. I always think about these being my downbeats. So this is a very common pattern I have. I call it zigzag sixes with my students. If I take 4 notes, I'm going to go. So I'm playing the top 2, the middle 2, and the low 2. So I've got, and we're going to move up a diminished 7th arpeggio, which if you've never done that before, it's like a miracle when you learn it. It's like you don't have to learn new scale patterns. So you've got this. So there's your first 2 strings of it. It just moves up a fret. Everything is every 3 frets. So we're dealing with 6, 9, 12, and 15 here. We have. Now I kind of go into like a little bit more of like, I guess what I would consider like a straight up group of, it almost turns into a group of 5 as I play it quickly. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Now take note of where my index finger is right there. You see how that's like flat? I'm not like this. And there's a reason. And when people ask why or comment that I don't have a rap on when I do tapping, well, shoot, man, I'm playing like the low C throughout this song. So for me to be able to get this stuff out cleanly, that's how I tend to mute. I do a lot of that with, you know, each hand. My right hand's kind of copying the low strings, but my left hand, I do a lot of fretting with my index, like in the middle of the finger. And that's actually muting the B, the G, and even the D in this case. So if I'm going to go... so that run... And because I'm going to transition back to my pick, there are some plucked notes there with my right hand, if you hear that. Right? So as I make that run, so just toying with 2 full bends, it's up and down. Cool. And then this actually turns into like a minor 3rd bend from this D here. But I resolve to the C below it there. Once again, I'm talking about fretted notes rather than concert. That's a concert B flat in this case, but cool. So hopefully you guys are following me so far on all this stuff with Randy Rhoads, George Lynch. So there's the opening of that guy. Now this is maybe deceptively the nastiest lick of the solo. I'm going to take a D chord here. And I'm going to try pulling off from G. And then walking down that. And the way I do that is by achieving hybrid picking. And I'm using, so hybrid means a combination, right? I'm using the flat pick plus finger picking. So it's neither finger picking nor flat picking here. So like I'm plucking with my pinky actually on the high E. For that. And then this goes third, middle, first. And I'm speaking of my right hand, not my left hand, okay? So as I go, kind of a wild little lick. Again, I look for things that are different. Even down to like little solo phrases, stuff that's kind of, my own, that can put a spin on a solo, that it's not just everybody else's licks. So now as I walk down, and that's a combination of a couple of my legato fundamentals. Just there's my money note. Again, try not for, that ruins everything, right? So if I go, round and circular with rock, I think blues vibrato being spazzy, that's fine, but rock, we want that relaxed sound when you land. Now this, I go right up a stack of power chords, D power chords. I just go. See that? So there's a D5 and a D5 here. Now this is kind of like repurposing pentatonic chops here at the end. Like I'm going to go for a the lick. That's just like if I was in D minor pentatonic going. Or something like that, right? But what I'm doing is I'm going for one step further here. So it's 22 and 17. And then I get a unison note here, which makes it interesting to me. This again, try to avoid, Cool. And then this next one, I don't know where this comes from, but it's thinking of a D7 add 4 arpeggio, right? So, which is basically when you're playing Phrygian sharp 3, you're talking D7 would be the 5 chord of G harmonic minor. So this is essentially a D7 lick with the 4th added here. There's a little string skip here from the D to the B. Now, the awkward thing is this last bend begins with that same finger. I realized that when I went to go do this playthrough. I went, oh man, how did I do that? So very little picking in that for me. I'm a big legato player, as you guys have probably figured out here. Now I jump to the high D here. So it's a half step. And then big 2.5 to get to that G as we re-enter that. Okay? And if I'm not mistaken, I might do it for the song. At the end of the solo there, I can try and recreate it for you if I go little flub there, sorry. There's another George Lynch. Yeah, they're holding that just a hair longer. Little passion in that, and and from there, you're back into your pre-riff, man. You got this. There's really not too much more. From there, I think, there's the breakdown chorus, which just simplifies the chorus riff. You're on your way out with the main riff. I think maybe I go to the walk down a time or two. are too different, but I believe we've covered all you need, except for maybe the very ending, which is very simple. That's just, you know, cool. So hopefully this has been informative enough for, like, you know, some beginners to pick up some of the rhythm chops and teach you the lead. And hey, I want to just thank Guitar World for having me down. We've had a great relationship here for a long time, and it means a lot to be able to reach out to this tremendous fan base that they have and teach you guys. I'm honored to do so. I know so many of you are great players out there. And it's just a, you know, a wonderful thing that they help me get my music out to you guys. So that means a lot to me. So thank you to Guitar World, all you guys here. And thank you to all the fans at Guitar World. And man, check it out. Check out Crash of Life. Where is it? Get out one more time for you. So there you go. June 16. Check it out, please, man. Crash of Life. Appreciate it. Hope you dig Far Too Deep. Good luck jamming on it, and send me your vids, dude. I'll post it on my social media. All right, cool. Right on. Thank you so much, everybody.